This video will provide a brief tour of the two specimens of the eye. First, the specimen of the anterior segment of the eye. And here you see the cornea, where you can enlarge and study the outer epithelium, the stroma, and the inner and the two membranes that you learned about in lecture. So you need to take your lecture and make sure when you're looking at this that you can find those layers. And then A represents the anterior chamber and P represents the posterior chamber, and it's the iris that divides the two, but the two are in communication. And you're learning from lecture that the aqueous humor is produced back here by special cells, and then it migrates and flows into the anterior chamber where it's absorbed in special cells here and then finds its way into channels, the canal schlemm, and eventually into veins. So you need to make sure you understand that flow. And of course here's the lens. Lens has a capsule and it has special fibers inside. On the next annotation, I attempted to give you a little orientation about the conjunctiva, which is represented by C here, and then it joins and connects to the epithelium that's covering the corneal surface, the cornea. And here is the ciliary muscle, and it has these fibers that go and connect to the lens, and the contraction of the muscle and the relaxation of the muscle will change the shape of the lens for near vision and far vision. So these are the zonula fibers, barely seen here, and if you increase the magnification you can see them right there. Okay, so be sure to study those parts, know their orientation, and then the last annotation is showing you the iris and two locations of the iris. This is where the concentric oriented smooth muscle fibers are located that go around the iris at the edge, and when they contract, that actually constricts the pupil. So it makes the iris come in and close the pupil so that you have less light coming in. And back here you will find longitudinal sections of smooth muscle cells, and these are the ones that pull the iris back and make more light come in. So here are the constrictor of the iris making less light come in, and here are the dilator muscles making more light come in. So spend time studying that, as well as the epithelial cells here that are producing the aqueous humor. So if you just use your lecture notes in this, you should be able to understand that as well. Okay, sorry for the short pause there. I'm going to go to the next specimen, which is a section through the back of the eye where you see the retina on either side, and then all of the optic nerve fibers come together at the optic disc, which is slightly depressed, and all of the nerve fibers that are carrying the information from the retina come out here in the optic nerve. So these nuclei you see are mostly Schwann cell nuclei with some nuclei of capillaries, endothelial cells. And then in the pink areas, those are all nerve fibers which will become myelinated out here. Now the next annotation here is over in this region you see up here, and that is this where this box is right here, and if we go, we're in this area right here. So I've labeled the sclera, the choroid, and where the rods and cones are, and then the optic nerve layer. I leave the rest of you to get the lecture notes out and determine what these layers are.